All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. Just a quick couple minutes here. In case you haven't been watching international news and stuff, the last couple days there have been non-stop earthquakes in the island of Santorini, which is off Greece or part of Greece. A very famous island. It's a volcano. All the houses are built up high in the volcano. Very famous spot. But anyways, and it's erupted in the past. We all know that from history and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's happened in more ancient times. But there's been reports of between 7 to 8,000 earthquakes. 7,000 to 8,000 earthquakes. Like you could see in the video, depending on the time of the news report that you watch, like when it was aired, because some are saying hundreds of earthquakes. Those might be older reports, but if you look at what the locals are saying, they're saying there's an earthquake like every 10 minutes. Just it's ridiculous. Something is going to happen there. I'm not a prophet or something, but it's just common sense. Something is going to happen. It's a volcano. Some locals are saying, and some reports are saying that the earthquakes are, like the epicenter or whatever is actually off the island. It's like in the water there. Whatever the case, Santorini is a volcano, and you're having that many nonstop earthquakes. They've evacuated all the people from there. It's a ghost town. That's pretty uncanny stuff to be happening, right? In my lifetime, I don't recall things like that happening ever before. But Santorini and a few other places like that, these big volcanoes, which are like big mountainous, places. I've always thought from the book of Revelations where it talks about the second trumpet. So like when the end days events start happening, as I've taught on my channel and in my books, and I'm not getting into detail on this, but there are 7 trumpets, 7 vials, and 7 seals. Okay? And as I've proven with the scripture, they're all taking place at the same time, meaning that the first trumpet, first seal, and first vial, they're all they're starting together. And by the time you get to like the 6th trumpet, the 6th vial, and the 6th seal, they're describing the same one event. And the 7th vial, 7th trumpet, 7th seal are describing the same one event. So all the trumpet, seals, and vials are taking place together, so to speak. They're not like spread apart by days, weeks, months, years, and all that. Like they're all happening around the same time. And even though the 7 trumpets occur in their own order on their own little trumpet timeline, and same with the vials, and same with the seals, they line up at times. And you could see this. Anybody could see this. You just read the verses and the description of, whatever trumpet is, whatever vial, and whatever seal, and they're describing the exact same things, right? So this is what we got going on. They're all generally happening at the same time in the same day. And at times they line up, right? So it's all happening together, you could say, right? The point in that is that when the first trumpet happens, and the first vial, the first seal, whichever of those 3 actually literally occurs first, but when those occur, everything else will follow soon after. And you even have Revelation saying that all these plagues will come in 1 hour as well, right? Whether it's those or other plagues, whatever. The point is, it's all going to happen in a very short time period, probably a day, based on all these verses that I've discussed in my videos and in my books that say it will happen in a day. So my point is that when we see the first trumpet, first and second trumpet occur, that's a strong indication that the end is actually upon us. Like it has started. So what is the second trumpet? What does it say? It says in Revelation 8:8, and the second messenger did sound, and as it were, a great mountain with fire burning was cast into the sea, and the third of the sea became blood. Now, this sounds a lot like a big mountainous volcano type. I mean, how would a mountain be on fire and sink into the sea? The only thing that could be would be a volcanic like place, like an island, right? A big one that has volcanic activity like Santorini. So, I mean, if Santorini erupted and, sunk into the sea, that would be the most accurate fulfillment of this one here. You know what I mean? I'm not wishing this on Santorini. I'm just saying, right? In my lifetime, I haven't seen something like this happen before. And it sounds a lot like what Revelation says will happen. But if it's the second trumpet, if that happens, and it's the second trumpet, that means the first trumpet had to happen first. What is the first trumpet? It says, "And the first messenger did sound, and there came hail and fire mingled with blood, and it was cast to the land, and a third of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up." So this sounds like a hail from the heavens, or like either literal hail or like space rocks coming down. And I have to say, I have a software that alerts you to asteroids and celestial objects, right? And you can look at the stars and all this on the software, but it literally alerts me and sends out an alert. I mean, it makes an alert sound, right? I got this software years ago, like years ago, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And whenever it makes this sound, I go pull up my phone and I look at it, and it will tell you what the object's name is, how close it is to the Earth, and so forth. You can look at all the stats for it. Well, in the last week or so, and I've been tracking this program for a while to see, when things are going to be coming close to Earth and all this. And it didn't really seem like anything big was going to happen until you get to the time of like Apophis towards 28, 29, right? So it didn't look like there's going to be a massive space rocks heading to the Earth. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that's not going to happen. But in the last week, 2 times the alert sound went off. I go look down, and one of the objects, the bigger of the two, was 33 meters across, which is about 150 feet or whatever. And that would be a city-destroying asteroid, meteor, whatever it is, comet fragment, whatever. But that would destroy an entire city. It would be like a nuclear bomb going off, or worse. And it depends where it hits. I mean, it could be disastrous. And it came within 0.7 lunar distances. So when you look up at the sky and you see the moon looking so big in the sky, it was 1/3 the way towards Earth from the moon. That's pretty significant. Going probably 50,000 miles an hour, and it's 150 feet across, most likely made out of stone or iron or whatever it is, like these space rocks usually are. That is ridiculous. Okay, we got very lucky. And there was another one that came within 1 lunar distance. It wasn't as big. But what does this show? In the last week, there's been an uptick. And a lot of these objects, they don't discover to the last minute, right? That's why the software didn't forecast certain objects coming to the Earth. I didn't pick up, excuse me, I didn't pick up on those ones. Otherwise, I would have been looking out for them, right? They caught me by surprise. So there are definitely space rocks flying around, and between the moon and the Earth. That's still a long ways, but it's not that far when you can look up and see the moon, and the moon's not that big. It's not that far away from us, right? I can't remember the exact number, maybe 250,000 or 200, I don't think it's million, like 250,000 or 600,000 kilometers or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's somewhere around there. So it's not super, super far. We're talking about things flying past. So anyways, my point is, if a meteor shower hits the Earth, right? Hits the Earth, it doesn't say it's going to destroy everything. It just says it burns up 1/3 of the trees and burns up the green grass. Whether those are metaphors or not, who knows? But if that occurs, and then Santorini erupts and then sinks into the ocean, I would say that's the first and the second trumpet happening. Okay? And by that notion, that means the first few seals will be opening up, right? Now, I don't know exactly when they'll happen, but they're probably going to happen along the same time because by the time you get to the 5th seal, I think it is, it's already lining up with like the 5th trumpet and whatever else. I go through it in my videos and my books. So whenever precisely the first 4 seals are open, they're the 4 horsemen, as they're called, right? The first one is the white horseman, which is Jesus, talked about in another chapter. He comes to conquer. Then you get the red horseman, the black horseman, and then the final 2 horsemen. So you get Jesus coming with the 4 horsemen, whatever it is, right? However they describe it. You get those figures coming, right? That's the emphasis for today, right? You get those 4 figures coming. Now, if I'm correct in saying the white horseman is Jesus coming to conquer, because he's described like that in chapter 17 or 19, whichever one it is, like verbatim as riding on a white horse, and he's coming to conquer, then if that's Jesus, that means that's the arrival of Jesus, right? So if we're seeing the first and second trumpet take place, I believe the first vial is this disease that breaks out on those who have the mark of the beast. If we're seeing and I've always said an extraterrestrial virus could be unleashed by a meteorite strike and stuff like that, right? And they might seem like fantastic things, but like I said, we got Santorini doing this stuff right now that's bonkers. A 7.6 magnitude earthquake just took place in the Caribbean Sea, like within the last hour or so off America. That's pretty huge. And earthquakes like that like never happened down there that I recall hearing in my lifetime. So it's like the whole earth is going berserk. You had a big 7 magnitude quake in California. What was it, like a month or so ago? Now you got one off of Texas in the Caribbean Sea, about the same size or bigger. And at the same time, you got Santorini going berserk. I mean, it really seems like Earth is about to go through something. That's probably why all those mystery UAP drones were here, because they know something's going to go down. I mean, I heard rumors from these crazy people that channel aliens that the aliens are saying that Earth is going to go through all this cataclysms and they're going to have to rescue people off the planet and blah, 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 right? So, I mean, it makes you wonder stuff, right? And all this connects over to the Bible, in my opinion. So we just have to keep our eyes peeled. I mean, these are huge developments to be taking place, like huge, right? So, I mean, if a quake that large hit my country, we'd be destroyed, right? We're just lucky that that quake occurred off in the ocean somewhere. I don't live down there, but I'm just saying, right? And then you have Santorini. I mean, that's terrible. These people got to leave their homes, and you know what I mean. But good Lord, man. So let's keep our eyes peeled for the arrival of Jesus, because I mean, if these things, I mean, you have to keep in mind, like I've said before in my teachings in my book, the plague on those with the mark of the beast, it could very well, as I postulate as well, it be tied to not just like being a bad person, because most people think if you're a bad person, you have the mark of the beast. I mean, maybe it does work like that, but it could very well be that because it's tied to the final beast kingdom, as I talk about in my books, that certain members of a certain religion, inclusive of, you could also say demonic or satanic people. I mean, they obviously have the mark of the beast, the name of Satan on them. But those who are serving the God of the final beast kingdom, in all technical sense, might be the ones who receive it first, and also, very evil people logically get it as well, right? Not just them. But it might be that when these meteors come down, they crash over in those lands over on that side of the world, and this disease breaks out. Now, that's a more down to earth explanation for the fantastic sounding stuff the Bible talks about, right? It could be some weird, bizarre, unknown disease that breaks out, or even an earthly one. It just happens to break out. But that might happen over on one side of the world predominantly. And if it's like a natural disease, it will take time to spread, even if it spreads extremely rapidly, right? We're talking about it's not going to automatically transfer across the planet. That would be supremely bizarre and supernatural and more far-fetched. For the fantastic sounding Bible events to actually be down to earth and plausibly occur, it could plausibly occur if it's something like that. A natural or extraterrestrial disease breaks out and it's going to have an epicenter. Okay, so if you don't live in that epicenter, you're somewhere else in the world, you may not realize that the plague has struck. You follow me? That's my point in saying this. Depending where you are in the world, you might be oblivious to some of the initial revelation events with the trumpet, seals, and vials. Okay, when Christ appears, it says every eye will see him. I'm pretty sure there's a verse that says that. Okay, but he will also come very, very quickly. So there's a chance you may not see it and you might miss it. Okay, so, and there's only 4 horsemen. They can only be in one place at one time. My point is that the initial events of the trumpet, seals, and vials, depending where you are in the world, you might not be aware that they're occurring. Okay, but because we have internet news, we're aware of Santorini rumbling now. So if that is going to be the second trumpet, not that I want anything bad to happen, if it is, we need to keep our eyes peeled now. I mean, this is an unusual event. Okay, and I'm just warning people because the end of days could truly start. And if it's all taking place in a day, as I've proposed based on verses, then we may not have a long time. The hours might go by on whatever day it is. Some hours might go by, and from where you are in the world, you might be oblivious that, oh, the first, the second, and the third trumpet of let's say the first trumpet the first vial and the first few seals have opened up somewhere else in the world, and you just don't know yet. And maybe you missed the sign of Jesus coming with the legions in the heavens, right? Maybe you missed all that. And if the news and internet is still working at this time still, maybe they'll broadcast, oh, Santorini's erupting, and look, it's sinking into the ocean. You know what I mean? It'll be all happening so quickly, we might not even know. Okay, it's going to take, till you're getting to like the, whatever it is, like third, by the time you get to the fifth trumpet, definitely, right? By the time you get to the fifth trumpet, I think that's when the whole earth goes dark. So, I mean, everybody's going to know it then, right? And that lines up with, I think it's the fifth or the sixth seal, and that lines up with whichever vial it is, right? And then from there on, they pretty much all match up, the trumpet seals and vials up until the end. So all of this might happen and unfold very, very quickly. And we may not get any premonitions, like preliminary warnings and signs. What's happening right now might actually be preliminary warnings and signs. That's my point, right? So when we're seeing the stars come down to the earth, like Jesus said, that's a sign that it's the end. We've seen all these things that look like stars flying around the earth, coming down to the earth, landing, and blah, blah, blah. We call them UFOs, right? They're still the messengers that the Bible is speaking about. That's one of the signs that happened at the end of last year, and it's still happening. It's a great mystery nobody can solve, right? Everybody's got excuses or theories, but at the end of the day, that's an uncanny event. All these big cataclysms are uncanny events. You put together all the uncanny, it shows you that something uncanny is about to happen, some big event, right? It's not rocket science, it's common sense. I mean, maybe all these things will fizzle away and then nothing will happen. I mean, I don't know, but are we going to be stupid and ignorant and not be internally prepared in case? So again, repent, reform, get yourself right with God, because I've been warning people for ages that the end days are upon us, and they could very well unexpectedly arrive any day, and you don't know. It could be any day, any week, any month, or in the next few years. But it's probably going to happen, and it's probably going to happen soon. So take care, folks. God bless. Don't say I didn't warn you. Why do I want these things to happen? So that we can go to a better world, be reunited with our loved ones who have passed away, with all of our pets, and everybody can have a wonderful life together again. Because those who are faithful in God know that there is life after death. Death is of the body. We continue to live afterwards. He is more than capable of giving us new bodies. He proved that he does this with Jesus. As Christians, we believe that there is this next life and a better life. Whether we die or get translated in a rapture, whatever it is, we have been promised this blessed place. And that's what I'm hoping and looking forward to see all my loved ones again. It's not that I'm some weird negative pessimist who wants the world to end. It's because I want those wonderful things for my family and for everybody else, right? And for all this misery and negativity and evil and crime and bad stuff to just be put to a stop and end. That's why I want this to happen. Okay, just to be clear. So anyways, take care, folks, and God bless.